Hi, my name is Pam. This is Total Pamarchy, and this week I made Among Us Crewmates, plush Among Us Crewmates out of socks from the dollar store. You don't need a lot of materials for this project. I purchased my materials in the fall. I was going to do this project at that time and just didn't get around to it. I went to the dollar store and bought these ultra soft crew socks. They're $1.25 in Canada. They just look like this, so you need a pair of those. You'll need some white felt. I also got that at the dollar store in just a giant pack that was like multicolored. You'll need some glue, scissors, stuffing, needle and thread, and some acrylic paint, and I believe that's about it. There's not a whole lot that you need. It's super easy, doesn't cost a lot of money, and what more can you say? It's like the best project. Watch this video to find out how I made them, and so you can make some too for your mini crewmates or for yourself if you want to keep them, because they are adorable. So step one for this is to take your sock, and you're going to leave the toe of the sock as your head of the crewmate, and then you're going to come down almost to the heel and cut straight across. For the first one I made out of blue, I ended up cutting a little triangle to separate his legs. And for the second one, for the pink, I ended up just cutting straight up, which worked out better to separate the legs more evenly. So I would suggest, instead of cutting a little triangle, just cut another slit just straight up to separate the legs. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna turn the body inside out and pin the area that you're gonna sew. I used a sewing machine for this portion. You don't have to, you can totally sew this by hand, so you don't even need a sewing machine for this. The most important part is just to remember to keep a hole for stuffing the body later on. For the first one, I only left one of the feet open and then added the stuffing and sewed it up. On the second one, the pink one that I had made, I left two of the feet open, and that, along with not cutting the triangle out to separate the legs, it made the feet more even across the bottom by doing that. On the blue one, my feet ended up being just a little bit crooked, and then on the pink one, they were more even. So I was happier with how the pink one turned out than the blue one, but you know, you live and learn, and you learn from your mistakes, and you keep making. So after you turn the body inside out and pin up the area you're going to sew, you can either sew that up by hand. I took mine to the sewing machine, and I used a zigzag setting on my machine. Set the stitch length to about 2 and the width at 3.5 to 4. And you're going to sew up the pinned area, remembering to back stitch to secure the beginning and end of the seam. Once you've finished sewing up your seam, you're going to flip your crewmate back right side out, and you're going to use the hole that you left in him to stuff him up. After he's stuffed, I hand sewed the remaining seam. I turned the material in a little bit and pinned it. The fabric is really fluffy and forgiving, so it hides all your sewing mistakes if you're not an expert sewer like myself. Next step, I cut the visor out of the felt. I guesstimated the size and drew the visor on the felt with a Sharpie marker before cutting it out. Then I painted the visors with acrylic paint. I used gray, blue, and white acrylic paint to create a pseudo reflection on the visor. Next, to make the air tank while the visors are drying, I took the cuff of the sock that you didn't use to make the body, so that remaining piece. I again kind of estimated the size of the air tank, cut a piece off, turned that inside out. I sewed up the seams on the air tank using my sewing machine once again, remembering to leave a hole for the stuffing. Then you're going to stuff your air tank and listen to your kids excitedly tell you they are free from online learning for the day.
I'm free.
Yay, you're free. Once you've stuffed your air tank, you're going to sew up the remaining seam and then sew the air tank to the body of the crewmate. I just loosely stitched on the air tank to the body, and it seemed to hold it pretty well. When the visors are finally dry, I use fabric glue to attach the visors to the crewmate faces, and that is the last step. You are done. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I've inspired you to make your own little sock crewmates. They were really easy to make, didn't require a lot of material, and you can get most of the materials from the dollar store, which is awesome if you want to make a bunch of them for your kids, for your relatives, and not spend a lot of money doing it, because crafts are expensive. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. It will really help me out, and consider subscribing to my channel. I make weekly nerdy crafty videos, usually posting on Friday. Have an amazing day. Remember to make something awesome today, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Sock plushie, plushie socks, plushie sock plushies. How does this stuff sound so good in my head, and then I go to like say, and it's like, oh my god, you're such a nerd. I am a nerd, by the way, and I like it.